Welcome back, viewers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in the United States at the invitation of President Donald Trump. During this crucial visit, the two leaders are expected to discuss a broad range of issues, including trade, immigration, defense, cooperation, and energy security. Defense and security ties between India and the US are set to be a key focus of PM Modi's meeting with Donald Trump. As the second Quad leader after Japan to visit since Trump's return to the office, PM Modi's visit underscores the alliance's growing significance. All right, viewers, now Major General Gigi Dwivedi, who is a global strategic expert, is joining me live on the broadcast. Appreciate you joining me this morning, and thank you very much for speaking to us. Amid all of these issues, including tariffs and trade, the bilateral talks are going to be focusing on much deeper issues. Mr. Dwivedi, in your opinion, if we have to put it down briefly, what is the one major focus area that India and the US should look at mutually to have in fact at the center stage of the discussions for the benefit of both the nations and the bilateral talks to be eased out in fact in mutual cooperation?
Thank you very much for having me on your show. Well, when we look at the Indo-US relations, they have to be looked at from the bifocal lens. One is the global strategic, and second, of course, in the bilateral terms. If you look at the strategic global scenario, US and India are very close strategic partners, and India figures very high on the US strategic perspective, may it be Indo-Pacific or may it be issues in the Western Pacific vis-a-vis China. I think India is on the very high priority of US. Now, coming specifically to bilateral issues, well, India and US are natural partners, natural allies, and therefore there is high degree of convergence as far as the strategic dimensions are concerned. But then there are also a couple of bilateral issues. I think first and foremost, to my perspective, I think India's defense requirement, India's defense needs are on top of the agenda, because given our security interests, America is a very close partner in this dimension. In fact, in last 15 years, we have imported something like $20 billion of defense equipment. And in the defense equipment, couple of issues are very important. One is the engines, F404G engine and F414G engine. In fact, both these things have been, there's the agreement on this, but unfortunately, ironically, the supply of these engines have not made adequate headway, and especially the transfer of technology of G414 engine. I think this will be one of the top of the agenda in the defense cooperation. The second one is we have signed the agreement on MQ9, drones. Now that also I think issue will be taken forward. The third important issue is our, initiative on critical technologies. Now, because today technology is one of the key areas, and I think this also issue will be on top of the agenda. And of course, as far as President Trump is concerned, well, he has certain fads, or he has certain, I think mental issues that he like to put forward, both from the domestic perspective. One are the tariffs, because Mr. Trump, President Trump, he feels that India is high on tariffs, and the bilateral trade between the two countries, it is $50 billion in favor of India. So he like to close up this gap and try to sell more defense equipment, especially the aircraft, the jet aircraft F-35 of US is in the fray against Soviet Union aircraft F-57. So I think this will be one of the agenda. Then also President Trump would like to sell more energy, gas, so as to bridge the gap. And thirdly, of course, is on top of the agenda is the immigrant, because that is the issue which is very close to Mr. Trump's heart, and he wants to ensure that illegal immigrants are sent back to the country, and in that India has sizable numbers of illegal immigrants, and I think that issue also will be on top of the agenda. So in the end, I can say that we need to look at the issues from the both global and bilateral perspective. In that sense, I think defense ties, trade, and immigration will be on top of the agenda. Over to you.
Mr. Dwivedi, in fact, very rightly said, as all eyes are now on the much awaited bilateral talks and how exactly this entire discourse over the visit by Prime Minister Narendra Modi at this given point of time, just after Donald Trump was re-elected as a US president for the second time, and he's the fourth world leader to have visited India, and after the invitation was extended from the White House after Donald Trump was re-elected. It says a lot about the Indo-US relationship. And on that note, Major General A.K. Sivach, who is a defense expert, is also with me on the broadcast as we are speaking about the growing and at this point, very importantly, the booming relationship between the India and the US across various sectors, and how exactly the talks are going to even facilitate the entry of more investment, more trade, and in sectors like clean and tech and defense. These are going to be the prominent and the crucial areas where more investment and more manufacturing and money could also, business could also be seen. So, in fact, at this point of time, A.K. Sivach, how do you view, in your opinion, how do you view these developments that are happening and also the meeting that is going to take place, the talks that are just going to be happening? How do you view this panning out for the India?
Very correct. Simran, see, as far as India and US are concerned, we are a comprehensive strategic partnership. The relationship between India and US are being on upswing from 2000 onward, and there is a bilateral as well as a bipartisan understanding, whether it is a Republican government or a Democratic government. The relationships are increasing every year. Now, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, the first term which he had, you will find that we signed three basic foundation agreement. In fact, there are four foundation agreement between India and US. These are basically GSOMI, that is General Security of Military Information, COMCASA, Communication Compatibility and Security Arrangement, then the LIMU, Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, and finally it was BECA, Basic Exchange Cooperation Agreement. Now, in a layman language, this basically translates that there will be more cooperation, coordination between both the countries. The real-time intelligence will be shared by both, and also the port facilities of each other country can be also utilized by either of the country. Now, the point which is there is the relationship between India and US are increasing over a period of time for two reasons. One is that there is a common enemy as far as India and US are concerned, that's China, especially in Indo-Pacific, where China hegemony is a problem for all smaller nations in that area, whether it is Malaysia, Indonesia, Brunei or Vietnam. So therefore the Quad was formed, and in the last time when it was Donald Trump 0.01, that is the time when the ministerial level meeting were held, it was upgraded to that. The basic aim of Quad is free, open and inclusive Indo-Pacific in three guiding principles: freedom of navigation, rule-based international order, and maintaining territorial integrity and sovereignty of whole nation. So therefore the point today what is there is the relationship between India and US are really going upswing. Now, three things which stands out. One is obviously, as far as the trade is concerned, between India and US, it is about $120 billion. But there is a trade deficit as far as the US is concerned, about $37 to $40 billion. So therefore, the US will try to bridge that gap by trying to push that we should able to buy more defense equipment and also oil and gas, which we are now taking from other countries, especially after Russia-Ukraine war from Russia. Now that 2 point will also come, and also what we are interested is that the certain defense equipment has to come from US, but it has been delayed for a long time. The main thing is the engine G404. This engine is a requirement for our Tejas Mark 1A, and that has been delayed because the engine which has to come from US from the GE Aerospace had not come, and neither the transfer of technology has able to be done in time. Now, so our pressure is that we must get our engine of basically aerospace at the earliest. And the second point which we are saying is MQ-9 drones, which are there 31, which India has already paid, but their process of coming to India has been very slow. So these 2 points which we are going to push across to as far as US is concerned. The another very important point is that we are trying to now looking for a 5th generation aircraft. And this is the first time that in Bangalore Air Show that both Russia as well as the US both have displayed their 5th generation aircraft from Russia Su-57 and from US F-35. Will there be any discussion on F-35? That is also a very important question. The question basically is that Make in India, as far as the idea of Prime Minister Modi is concerned, and as far as Donald Trump is concerned, make US great again, there will be a fusion of this. Both the countries will like it, that whether it is trade, whether it is space, artificial intelligence, resilience in supply chain, all are being discussed, and we try to bring out what maximum we can gain from each other. But there is no doubt there is a bonhomie, there is a personal chemistry between Donald Trump and Prime Minister Modi, and both the countries are going to basically gain from this. But the main issue is that the threat which is looming large as far as the China is concerned, whether it is in Indo-Pacific or against our own border from Ladakh to Arunachal Pradesh, is also a very important issue which will be also discussed, and that will materialize in getting more weapon system, state of art. Transfer of technology is the main thing. You know, once upon a time, the Americans were not very keen to give the best of the weapon system to India, and of course, they never agreed for transfer of technology. So it is a changed environment. They want to cooperate and coordinate. As far as the trade is concerned, India is understanding the requirement of US. India has already reduced in this basic budget that the 3 items where the tariff has been reduced, that is your Davidson Harley motorcycle and Apple computers, as well as the mobile phone and Tesla electric car. But certainly, as far as US is concerned, it will try to put more pressure to make sure that we buy more oil and gas also. At the same time, the another point which is a tricky is that the illegal migration. Obviously, we have agreed that all those illegal migrants which have gone from India, India is ready to take back. But the way the US has given the treatment to 104 illegal migrants which were sent by their aircraft C-17 Growmaster was not to the best of our liking. I'm sure they will be more sensitive next time. Maybe that India will be sending our civil aircraft to get them back. All said and done, I feel that this visit is going to be a game changer, and especially this on the beginning of the second term of Trump, when Prime Minister Modi and Trump are meeting. This will make tremendous impact on the bilateral relationship of both the countries.
All
and
right,
will have
Major
a direct
General
impact.
A.K. Sibaj, thank you very much. In fact, Mr. Dwivedi also, thank you very much for joining us live on the broadcast and being patient and answering, in fact, these questions which are coming at this point of time as the bilateral talks are just going to happen. Amid the rising tensions with Pakistan, Uttar Pradesh governor will be chairing an important security meeting today.